Ladakh, a land of high passes, rocky ridges and ancient gompas. A timeless place of sand, snow and shifting shadows.
This region falls in the rain shadow of the Himalayas, a physical barrier that stops the monsoon from coming in. It's a rain shadow so powerful that this place is almost entirely arid. In our quest, looking at different ecosystems on the brink, we've come 13,000 feet above sea level to Ladakh. Because something in this cold desert seems to be going wrong.
The people here are witnessing harsh winters, hotter summers and flash floods. I'm on a mission to find out what's plaguing India's only cold desert. This year, Ladakh faced its worst winter in 20 years. Temperatures plummeted to minus 35 degrees, well below the average minimum of minus 20. Even Leh, which sees a smattering of snow in December, went under a blanket of white over 4 feet deep. 4 months have passed since that severe chill swept the Tibetan plateau. As we make our way 250 kilometers from Leh to Somoriri Lake, I realize that the summer here has been inevitably delayed. The lake is still frozen solid. We are here to meet Changpa tribals, nomads who rear Pashmina goats. Ladakh's economy depends heavily on this wool, but we find out that their livelihood was severely crippled this winter. As I clamber up, my feet find only ice. There's no grass here for the cattle to feed. 25-year-old Sonam tells me he's lost more than half his herd. With no pasture land around, his goats are still dying. Have all the nomads in Ladakh suffered the same fate? I venture inside one of their tents. Tashi's family is equally gutted. He lost more than 40 goats and sheep this year. And the nightmare, he says, isn't over.
माँ को दूध भी नहीं पीने और घास भी नहीं है, फिर ऐसे भूखे मर जाते हैं। हमारा बच्चा जैसा ही है, देखो ना, और मरेगा सा, और घास आने तक तो और 1 महीना लगेगा, तब तक तो ये रहेगा नहीं रहेगा, हमको कोई पता नहीं है।
The young ones, I'm told, are too weak to venture out. See, he's sucking my finger. I think he's looking for milk. Tashi expects the loss to his business to be over 2 lakh rupees. As I take a long trek back, I think of the inhospitable conditions under which the people live, and if they have the means to cope when the weather turns worse. We leave the cold Changpang plateau and travel down to Phiang, a village a few kilometers from Leh. It's one of the 20 towns that was hit by flash floods in July 2006. Stenzin, a local cameraman, was one of the few people who was present that day to capture the damage that the water has inflicted.
Everybody is sad, what happening in our place, and somebody is weeping, somebody is taking their things, somebody is crying, So I was just shocked myself.
A cold desert like Ladakh sees barely 1 to 2 millimeters of rain. That month, it received more than 26 millimeters. Ladakhis had never seen so much water or the destruction that had brought in its wake. As I walk among the ruins, it looks like an earthquake has ravaged the place.
I find it quite hard to imagine. I'm told this entire stretch was flat land. There were fields and vegetable patches and gardens with these houses, and now it's just strewn with big boulders and rocks. These actually were washed down during the rain floods in 2006. Imagine having such big boulders hit into your house when it's raining and it's flooding. And this is just all there's left here. Half submerged, completely broken down houses.
We come across Sering and her son Tashi, hacking away the mud and beams of their broken house, hoping to use the wood for their new home. Sering takes me through the rubble that was once her kitchen, her puja, her children's room. 8 people, she says, now live in a house on the hill without water or electricity, a house that's still not fully constructed.
उस दिन पानी आ गया ना, पर बहुत डरता है, दुखी भी है ना जी। बहुत साल होते जिंदगी में कितना पैसा जमा किया वो पूरा इसमें घर में चला गया मेरे, इसकी वजह से पूरा घर तबाह हो
Sering has also lost her fields.
गया। खेत पूरा दब गया ना जी, पत्थर पूरा आ गया, फिर एक गेहूं भी नहीं बचा जी, पूरा एक दाना जैसा भी ऐसे नहीं बचा, पूरा पत्थर भर गया ना जी।
Supplying vegetables and grains to the army was the only source of income for not just Sering but all of Fiang. So when Dawa Norzang lost his land in these floods, some say he went mad. His son tries to explain his condition to us.
I think he thought himself that my earning source has totally been lost out. Now I can do nothing. With the passage of time, he got totally frustrated with this situation. I think that those were some reasons that he got a great shock.
Seeing Dawa like this, unable to even make eye contact with his son, I see the real impact of unpredictable weather in Ladakh. As we travel out, I jog my memory. The floods here, in fact, struck around the same time that floods hit another desert, Barmer in Rajasthan. Global disturbance or divine intervention? From a severe winter to unexpected rains and flash floods, there's nothing predictable about these climatic shifts, and I'm told there's more freak weather in store. As I turn a prayer wheel, I wonder, some faiths would call this the end of the world. How else does one explain locusts 15,000 feet above sea level?
We have like some of the data is available. Every year the temperature in this region is also increasing, and because these insects are now finding very suitable climate here for them, so that's how they have invaded and they are just wiping out whole of the pasture lands.
The locusts have been coming here for 3 years now. Just how hot are the summers getting in Ladakh? I walk into a 15th century monastery in Leh. They've installed fans here. Since when did a region nestled in the uppermost reaches of the Himalayas need fans? Houses I find have not just fans but also fridges. This house even keeps a cooler.
पिछले साल इतना गर्मी हुआ, 32 से 35 तक हुआ, फिर फैन लगाना पड़ता है। पहले तो नहीं होता था किसी के घर में फैन।
It's official. Ladakh is feeling the heat.
We've met people who are still bearing the brunt of the flash floods that took place in 2006, of the severe winter at the end of 2007. We've seen the consequence of hotter, longer summers in Ladakh. This trend falls too close to the chilling truth that one of the first signs of a looming climate crisis or global warming is this phenomenon of freak weather.
So is Ladakh behaving like another cold desert, the Arctic, in becoming the harbinger of global warming in the region? We're in Ladakh, the rooftop of the world. to understand what's happening to the cold desert ecosystem, and if global warming has in fact spread its tentacles here.
The people of Ladakh have literally grown up by the mountainside. Whether you're in a city like Leh or a small village like Korzok, it's hard to ignore these majestic mountain ranges no matter where you go in this region, which is perhaps why a handful of people are blaming the changing weather on the receding snowline.
An older generation here says that with rising temperatures, they've seen their life-giving glaciers virtually disappear before their eyes. Like 80-year-old Paljor Tunduk from Korzok village. He often takes walks with his grandson to the highest monastery. But what he sees today worries him.
The glaciers are receding because of the warm weather. When I was younger, it was very difficult to collect medicinal plants around the glacier, but now it has become very easy.
Many scientists believe that it's climate change that's causing ice shelves to disappear the world over. Just like in another cold desert, the Arctic. Little wonder then that the World Wildlife Fund in India is working to gather evidence of it here. Paljor is one of 100 senior citizens that WWF India has been meeting as part of its Climate Witness program. I decide to sit in on one of their interviews.
He's saying that it is now, from his observation, 5 floors of glaciers already melted.
Up to 5 floors.
We have interviewed more than 100 witnesses. In a nutshell, they all are saying that in their own lifetime, they all have seen glaciers vanishing from their areas. And many people from the villages say when he was a kid, there was a glacier here which used to supply water to whole of the village down there.
More than 90% of Ladakh gets its waters from these glaciers. And if they are receding at the rate at which locals believe, then Ladakh's ecosystem could truly be on the brink. But how do we know for sure?
Well, the Somoriri Lake is glacier fed. So anything that happens to the glaciers will impact these waters. The locals here tell me there are actual signs to show that the water levels here have actually increased over the last couple of years.
Tunduk is a forest guard at the Somoriri Lake. He takes me on horseback to point out an entire road, once a path for traffic to this place that's now underwater.
वो जो रोड बना है वो तो 1-2 साल में न्यू कंस्ट्रक्शन बना रोड पुराना रोड जो है वो यहाँ से जाते पूरे लेक के अंदर लेक इंक्रीज होने से ये पूरा पानी भरा है रोड जो है पूरे लेक के अंदर चले गया है.
And this is not just an anecdotal account. Satellite images confirm that water levels in the lake have in fact risen over the last 7 years. These rising levels have come at a dangerous cost to the lake's ecosystem. Tashi from WWF takes me on a long trek into the Somoriri wetlands.
You can see the
Red color.
This, I'm told, was once a breeding ground for the highly endangered black-necked crane. Today the island is almost fully underwater. The last crane was spotted here 7 years ago.
जून 2001 की बात है. यहाँ पे मैंने नेस्ट और 2 अंडे देखे हैं. तो कुछ दिनों में जब रेनफॉल हुआ तो इसका पानी का लेवल काफ़ी बढ़ गया तो ये नेस्ट भी अंदर चला गया, पानी के अंदर चला गया.
ये डेंजरस क्यों है?
ये डेंजरस इसलिए है आइलैंड का ये वाटर लेवल मतलब साल बाय साल ये बढ़ता जा रहा है. तो शायद पूरा आइलैंड एक दिन ख़त्म हो जाएगा तो इनके लिए शायद ब्रीडिंग के ग्राउंड नहीं मिलेगा तो इनका पॉपुलेशन कम होगा तो ये ख़त्म होने के भी चांसेस है.
I'm told only 60 black-necked cranes exist in India and none on Somoriri Lake. As we head back, we spot a few gulls and the rare and endangered bar-headed geese. Just like the cranes, these geese breed only on the islands between these high-altitude lakes. I'm told they could be next in disappearing from these waters. Experts say that if global temperatures continue to rise, over 100 million species are at risk of extinction. Could this be the sole handiwork of global warming?
The melting of the glacier started almost 20,000 years back after the last glacial age. Our study in Ladakh Himalayas is that the glaciers are retreating, but not at an abnormal rate. They are retreating at a natural rate between 2 to 6 or 7 meters per year.
From 1950 to 2000, the average temperature increase has been 1.5 degrees Celsius. Most of the glaciers in the Himalaya, to my mind, are receding right from 15 to 20 meters per year, and this is alarming.
So science stands divided on these climatic shifts. But there's no denying that the people here, their land and their livelihood are being affected by these complex and evolving changes.
So why should you and I care about glaciers receding in a remote place like Ladakh?
Rising temperatures, receding glaciers and erratic weather. We're seeing signs of it everywhere. What's ailing Ladakh? While some scientists tell us this is climate change, others are categorical in attributing it to global disturbances like solar activity and Earth's varying orbit. I realize that the reasons here are too complex to isolate, but the outcome is anything but linear. One common refrain from the people we meet here is that agriculture has in fact become better because glacier water is suddenly available in plenty.
अच्छा मिल रहा है हम लोग को बहुत खुशी हाँ क्योंकि हमारा जो भी जमीन में डालेगा सरगम लगाओ मूली कोई भी चीज में लगाओ रुमाल लगाओ सारा सब्जी भाग रहा है सब सब
Seeing all this greenery, the fields, the general fertility in a cold desert like Ladakh, one is reminded of a lot of temperate climates throughout the world in countries like Canada, some parts of America and Europe. Climate change and increasing temperatures have made them agriculturally more productive or will make them more productive in the next couple of years, which is perhaps why some of these countries don't want to put a cap on their greenhouse gas emissions. This phase of global warming is proving economically productive, but it is temporary.
People are very happy in couple of areas, couple of valleys in Ladakh, but serious cause of concern here is when this glacier will vanish, then what will happen to that area?
Unfortunately, the outcome isn't just local. It has far-reaching consequences.
So why should you and I care about glaciers receding in a remote place like Ladakh? Because this is exactly what's happening in many parts of the Himalayan range. These glaciers are the headwaters of Asia's 9 largest rivers. Rivers like the Indus, the Ganga, the Brahmaputra. And these support more than 1.3 billion people downstream.
And what would happen if these life-giving rivers were to dry out with the glaciers? Ladakh then would only be a starting point of a climate crisis, which if left unabated, threatens to wipe out the entire agricultural economy in India. Faced with changes too big to influence, the farmers here, the nomads, and housewives, people like Sering, Paljor, and Dawa can only pray that their homes and hearts stay protected.
Ladakh has many ancient beliefs. Some say putting a stone on a pile of stones on the road would stem the flow of waters in the region. Some say travelers do this to ensure that they come back to this place, in this life or the next. I, for one, would definitely like to come back. The harsh and rugged beauty of this cold desert is truly unique. But mine would also be a prayer for the people here and this land so it can withstand the winds of change enveloping it.